we built the shaft so we could investigate. So of course, Marty and I are going to go down.
How far is that down there?
It's not very much further. I'll just open this up, this little hatch here, so it gets a better idea.
After years of digging, the team found an unusual structure underground that appeared to be part of an old construction. This discovery led them back to the money pit, the same place where the treasure hunt began. The hope was that if they reached a depth of 50 to 60 feet, they could continue digging towards a tunnel from there, a path that led to the long-hidden treasure. The direction and structure of the tunnel found at this depth made the team think that this might be the path that could help solve the mystery. Now, they may have the clue that could prove that the Oak Island treasure may not be just a story, but a reality. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more such discoveries and updates. Each summer, when most teams stop research, Rick and Marty Lagina continue their excavations. They believe the more time spent underground, the more answers they can find. In recent excavations, the team found signs of a tunnel that leads directly to the money pit area, the same spot that has long been considered a potential treasure center. After spotting a potential tunnel at a depth of about 95 feet, the Lagina brothers decided to focus on that area and instructed Dumas Contracting to extend the garden shaft down another 90 feet. The excavations turned up some metallic signals, but the real hope was an old wooden structure that may have been there. If it turns out to be true, the discovery could be a major step toward solving Oak Island's age-old mystery. The excavations weren't easy, though. This part turned out to be more difficult than the others, but the team plans to go deeper into the garden shaft to investigate the tunnel thoroughly. They believe that this discovery may not only be related to treasure, but may also prove to be historically important. During their excavations over the past few weeks, the team found clues that linked them to earlier historical evidence. Old papers, leather-bound book bindings, and a strange object with a 6 written on it were found at a nearby site, and all of this is now making headlines. Archaeologist Laird Niven was excited by the discovery. He felt they were closer to the truth hidden beneath Oak Island. The team was confident that the garden shaft needed to be extended even deeper to reach the mysterious tunnel. Along the way, they came across a wooden structure that some saw as a suspected treasure chest. Though there was no concrete evidence, hopes were high. The team decided to extend a nearby borehole called H8. When they reached a depth of about 170 feet, they found something huge and unusual, something that could help solve the challenges of the past several years. But as the excavations got deeper, problems increased. The H8 borehole became unstable, causing soil to come out and making digging dangerous. It also appeared that the chest they were trying to reach was sinking further and further. While handling the soil and material found during the excavation of the H8 area, the team realized that every small piece here could point to a big clue. There were some samples that indicated a hidden structure or an old construction at a depth. This time, things seemed more consistent than the excavations of the past years. Although this task was not easy, but the team remained hopeful. During the old excavation, Terry Matheson had suggested a possibility that the chest or chamber they were searching for may have been damaged or tampered with by someone earlier. Although this idea was interesting, the team's focus at this time was on the fresh scans, which showed possible empty spaces or changes in density inside the ground. These clues were increasing their enthusiasm further. Now their purpose was clear: to reach that possible vault and conduct an intensive search operation there. Maybe this is the place where the answer to the mystery of 200 years is hidden. As the excavation progressed, something unusual was found at one place, which boosted the team's morale. It was clear that no matter how old the discovery is, if the efforts are in the right direction, every layer can reveal something new. After completing one discovery, the team immediately turned to the next possible place, hoping that perhaps Oak Island would reveal some more secrets this time. Based on some key surveys from last season, the team returned to the southeast marsh area, an area very close to the original money pit. This time, their focus was on an old stone path that had raised questions before. The area had been a hotbed of active human activity in the past, and the team was curious to see if there was anything hidden there that could shed light on Oak Island's past. As the digging began, the team decided to go deeper into the marsh. Their primary goal was, as always, the possibility of treasure, but they were also serious about historical artifacts that might be buried in the soil. Gary Drayton paid particular attention to a few clues during this phase of the search. He suspected that the stone path may have once been a landing site for ships, perhaps a small harbor or loading point. If ship keels are found here, then clearly someone brought ships here, Gary said. Some clues suggested that the path was not only connected to historic voyages, but may have been used to unload or hide cargo. Alex Lagina was intrigued by the stories and the ancient remains found here, as they seemed to link directly to the island's history. The team intensified their investigation of the area. Gary continued to work in his own direction, while the others worked to understand the history of the old path and gather other clues. This endeavor was not just a treasure hunt. It was also an attempt to understand the past that has made Oak Island mysterious. When Gary Drayton recovered some interesting material from a particular area during a previous excavation, the team refocused on that swampy area. It was an area that had been suspected before, and now the new discovery has added to its importance. One corner in particular caught Rick Lagina's attention. He thought it might be the key link in a 200-year-long search. Although the team was excited, they knew it wasn't going to be easy. Still, the new clues gave them confidence that they might be headed in the right direction. As the excavation progressed, the team found a large boulder that was located very close to an old stone path. Its position made them think it might have been placed intentionally, and that made them wonder if it was part of the mystery they wanted to solve. Rick showed keen interest in this particular stone, and soon, Billy Gerhardt pointed out to the team some other stones that had been found recently. These stones were in a straight line and seemed to be forming a path to the big stone. Jack Begley began to consider the historical significance of the place, while Billy raised the possibility that something big could be hidden here. The whole team began to feel that they were very close to something special. The team then began to investigate the place closely. Every little clue was recorded, and especially the excavation around the big stone was done carefully. As soon as the weather turned favorable, the team began scanning the area where a distinctive stone formation had recently been found with technical equipment. They used ground-penetrating radar and metal detectors to get an idea of what was hidden beneath the ground. Every time the machine returned a signal, the entire team became alert. There could be an old metal tool or structure hidden beneath. Just digging was not enough. The team documented everything meticulously, taking photos, videos, and making detailed notes so that no small clue was missed. These records were important, not just for their report, but also for future historians who might want to analyze this work. With each new dig, Oak Island's history began to unfold a little more. The soil yielded old pottery fragments, coins, and metal tools, each object adding a new piece to that puzzle of history. "This is really special," said one team member. "I've found tokens that probably go back to Roman times." When the team settled down to relax in the evening after a tiring day, the discussion often returned to the same topic. Who had been coming here all these years, and why? Some of the old tokens, pottery fragments, and tools found during the excavations indicated that the island had once been used for some purpose. These discoveries raised the question of whether the place was just famous for its treasure, or whether it had a deeper past. Many ideas were floated among the team. Some talked of pirates. Others saw it as a secret storage site from the colonial era. Every theory was listened to seriously, no matter how unusual it seemed. Everyone working on Oak Island knew that anything was possible here, and that kept them engaged in the search. The journey forged a strong sense of camaraderie and teamwork among the team members. The challenges of digging, small breakthroughs, and shared experiences brought them together. This was no longer just a treasure hunt, but a historical investigation, one that could uncover facts hidden beneath the layers of earth that could change perceptions of history. As the season progressed, the team began seriously preparing for the possibility that they might find the vault they were looking for. They not only created an excavation plan, but also made sure that any historical artifacts found would be carefully preserved. By consulting historians and experts, the team prepared themselves for that moment, when real evidence would be revealed buried beneath the ground. The discovery of an old piece of wood in the swampy area refocused the team's attention in that direction. When Gary Drayton found it just a few feet below the topsoil, its structure immediately caught everyone's attention. Gary noticed that the wood was not normal. One end of it was wide and the other relatively thin. Its structure resembled the wood that the team had found in the same area before. The only difference was that this piece was cut in a different way. After this discovery, the team intensified the digging in that area, especially near the place where some unusual stones were found a few days ago, placed in a special shape. Lagina gave importance to the position of these stones and said that perhaps they could be part of some sign or structure. When it came up in the conversation that these stones were close to the famous stone path and money pit, a new energy was felt among the entire team. Everyone felt that this place was worth investigating more deeply. Gary was concerned that the clues might be deeper, and that shallow digging alone would not provide real clues. His suspicions were correct. The wood did not catch the metal detector because it was not metal. Lagina also echoed this sentiment. "We have found pieces like this before, but this one is unusual in shape. Perhaps it was made for a specific purpose," he said. The team decided to dig deeper until its context became clear, to see if the piece was connected to a larger structure or historic ship. Many times, such things are found in the excavation that look interesting but do not lead to any concrete conclusion. Still, the team did not leave any stone unturned in its efforts, especially in the swampy area, where every layer brings a new possibility. Meanwhile, when Jack Begley, on the instructions of Rick, started searching for metal in Lot 5 of the Money Pit area, he had to struggle a lot. The metal pieces that were expected there were not easily found. On the other hand, some members of the team were making steady progress in other parts of the island. While digging under an old round pit-like structure, the archaeological team found a unique foundation of stones, which did not match the traditional structures. When Jamie Kuba, an archaeologist in the team, talked about this, he told that now they are getting some clarity about the composition of this stone. In the excavation, some such remains were found at a depth of about 161 feet, which were indicating that different civilizations or groups have been present on this island at different times. For instance, the team found a 14th century lead trade token, Venetian glass beads from the 1500s and 1600s, and some metal tools, possibly linked to Sir William Phipps. These discoveries further energized the team. They were now ready to move on to a new area, hoping there was more to discover beneath the ground. The first step was to study the soil texture to identify the boundaries of the old building sites. Jaime Cuba realized that if they could correctly understand the layers and density of the ground, they could determine the exact line of the foundation where the search turned. It became clear to the team that this dig was not limited to just a few artifacts. There was a possibility that this site might be connected to the main story of Oak Island. Jack Begley also got the idea that there might be some hidden layers of history here, pointing to events more than 200 years old. While examining the bricks, pottery, and glass fragments, some team members commented on their appearance. "It's a little big, and look at the shine." While these objects were a little confusing, they could certainly provide clues to the technology of the time, use, and perhaps the intent behind the hide. Jaime and the team decided it was time to gather more accurate information. To put these clues in context, Jack was also fully involved in this effort, as he believed that this effort could lead to some big findings. One thing became clear to the team during this entire expedition: if we really want to get any concrete results, everyone has to work together. The special density of the soil in the area also led to the speculation that there may be a layer of limestone or mortar nearby, which may have been part of some construction. It was a small clue, but it gave them confidence that they were moving in the right direction. In the direction that could lead to Oak Island's biggest mystery. While discussing a recently exposed stone foundation in the western section, the team's attention was drawn to the coastal area of Lot 5, where things were pointing in a different direction. It was there that Jaime Cuba noticed a light gray material they had accidentally found during the excavation. Its texture resembled raw mortar, or possibly old concrete, similar to what the team had found in the Money Pit area before. Jack Begley remembered the 2019 excavation at Site H8, when a similar material was found. Such samples were not unknown to the team. They had come across similar building material several times in the past while excavating around the Money Pit. With this experience in mind, Laird Niven decided that the sample should be shown to Emma, an expert in metal and material analysis. He believed that if this sample was compared to old data, solid information about its origin could be found. Jaime immediately agreed to provide a clean sample for analysis. Though Laird recognized the complexity of such analysis, especially when the soil texture varies and comparable samples are hard to come by, he was still optimistic. He believed that, under the right conditions, even this small sample could provide a big clue, one that might reveal more of the history hidden beneath Oak Island soil. In any field where resources are limited, hard work in the right direction becomes the most important. With this in mind, the team decided to move forward with the samples and information currently available. They hoped that these small efforts made gradually would one day lead them to the discovery that has been talked about for years. Meanwhile, while the samples collected by Jaime Cuba were being prepared for Emma's analysis, discussions began within the team about the significance of this discovery. Could this material be part of a structure built by earlier explorers, or a remnant of the people who once hid this treasure? The feeling of touching a real part of history with their own hands filled the team with a different energy. A straight path of stones. On the same day of the discovery, Rick and Marty Lagina once again headed towards the swampy area with the team, a triangular terrain that had given them many interesting clues before. The area is believed to be connected to the Money Pit, and there is a suspicion that structures were built here in the past to hide something. If this is true, it is also possible that the swamp is not natural, but man-made. Rick Lagina pointed to the stones arranged in a particular line, saying that it showed complete uniformity, while no other such structure was seen in the surrounding land. This indicated that there was some human activity here, and the order could not be just a coincidence. The question now was this path part of a larger network? And if so, who built it? And why were the stones placed so precisely? Searching based on maps and landmarks is nothing new, But when huge stones are placed on the ground in a straight line, and some of them have holes in them, it does not seem like a mere coincidence. This was the thought of Chris, who drew the team's attention to this pattern. Chris suggested that these stones are not part of a normal structure, but are part of a larger ground-based signal system. He believed that this line, called Nolan's Cross, was prepared on the island as a part of a well-thought-out plan. A special point in this structure, named Cone C, is located near the beach, and Chris considered it to be the starting point. Starting from here, the perforated stones move in one direction, pointing towards the money pit. According to him, this was a kind of breadcrumb trail, that is, a series of small signs which were created to lead to something valuable. Chris said the stones were not just placed to mark directions, but also had cultural and symbolic significance. The shape of the cross, he said, was a symbol of not just religious faith, but of the mission a group, perhaps the Templars or those inspired by them, had adopted. The team was impressed by Chris's words and his research. The way the stones were positioned and the pattern they revealed got everyone thinking. To confirm this theory, Rick and Marty called in surveyor Steve Guptill, so that if the stones were indeed placed with as much precision as claimed, Steve's measurements could prove it. During the search, when the team saw an old tree stump, their attention was drawn to its structure and location. It was not like the remains of an ordinary tree. Rather, it looked as if trees had been cut down in a planned manner in this area at some point in the past. The position of this stump and the texture of the surrounding soil raised the possibility that this wood was used in platform structures made of round logs found earlier in the money pit area. Those platforms were discovered about 2 centuries ago and are believed to have been intended to protect the treasure from waterlogging. If this stump is connected to those old works, it could mean that the swamp area is not only important geographically, but also historically. The swamp area itself has always been a mystery. Earlier also, the team had discovered stone paths and unusual rocks here, which indicate that some activity must have taken place here at some point. Now, the discovery of this second stump further strengthened the idea that this area may not be just natural, but may be the result of human intervention. What was particularly interesting was that entire logs of wood were missing from there, as if someone had removed all the usable parts and left only the roots. This made the team even more convinced that this area must have been deliberately changed at some point, possibly for some strategic purpose, such as to hide something. As the team dug in the swamp, one thing became clear to them. The structure here may not be as natural as it appears. The depth of the soil, water level, and surrounding structures indicated that the area may have been altered for some purpose. It was suspected that the area may have been used to cover a tunnel or hidden structure. Some team members believed that the entire site may have been strategically altered by an earlier group, perhaps the Templars or early settlers, to keep their activities and routes secret. Meanwhile, the team's attention turned back to the money pit area, where there was a new breakthrough in the excavation. An unusual discovery in the money pit digging, at a depth of about 95 feet, the team found signs of a 7-foot-wide tunnel. The area previously called the Baby Blob, and where unusual activity had been observed in ground scanning. As the excavation progressed, the team began examining surrounding surfaces using a sonic drill. Soon, they found pieces of wood that appeared to be part of a structure, possibly the same old platforms that were connected to the historic money pit. The woods were round and placed in such a way that it was clear they had been placed there intentionally. When the team probed the bottom of the woods with a crowbar, they found an empty space. This indicated that the tunnel may still be intact and perhaps lead to a bigger mystery. The texture and depth of the woods indicated that the structure could be very old, and that was what was most exciting to the team.